we definitely can project that Biden is to win the presidency.
I'm sorry, if you do not have a TV or a computer or a cell phone, Joe Biden did win the presidential election as of yesterday. And it was due to, it came down to Pennsylvania.
Well, it came down to a couple swing states.
Well, we were waiting on a few of the swing states, and it seemed like they were ultimately taking too long to count votes. I see a few memes where they were making fun of Arizona, they were making fun of Nevada.
Yeah, Nevada was saying they were going to take it till November 12th, and then it came to a point then it didn't even matter. Once we got PA, it was done.
Well, it was the two. I mean, we were sitting on the electoral votes of Joe Biden with 253, and I believe Trump had 214.
Yeah.
And the reason why once Pennsylvania turned, it didn't matter is because Pennsylvania had 20 electoral votes and it was only racing to 270. So obviously Pennsylvania turned, Joe Biden gets 273, Joe Biden's the next president. And the reason why it was so exciting in a sense is because it didn't, a lot of those states did not start off blue.
Oh yeah, there was such great voters turnout, I'll say it, because states like Arizona has not gone blue in over 2 decades. That's 20 years, okay? That's over how many elections? There's a general election every 4 years. That's almost saying in almost 5 general elections, it's voted Republican. And it finally went Democratic in this election. And that just tells me that America is actually believes in their democracy, believes in the system, that it's actually they care about character, And this election came down to Trump and Biden, okay? 2 white men with 2 different policies, but at the same time, we understand that Trump has no character. We see that he is a brute. We see he's also a racist. So America finally came to the reality and voted the right way. And I love seeing that in this election.
I mean, you're right. Arizona did turn ultimately. Now I was wondering what was going on over there because it seemed like, Biden went up and then Trump was just trickling his way up in Arizona. And I was wondering what is going on over there.
Well, they said it was a Latino vote.
And that's what I'm saying. What's going on
I don't
with my
actually...
Latino brothers and sisters in Arizona?
I have no...
Maybe you can help me out with that.
I don't know. But in this election, I heard a lot of Latinos voted for Trump. And I personally can't think of a reason why they would, per se, with the whole entire ICE, the wall.
Examples of why you...
And just, and how he, calls them, undocumented workers who, pretty much come over here to steal American jobs. I don't know.
And that works.
I feel like this coming from that community, you would not. That would be enough for you just to vote for the opposition, but...
Yeah,
it's a very interesting thing to see that, though.
I didn't expect that at all. Anybody who's been watching this show, I've said on multiple occasions that I pretty much consider Latinos black in a sense. I definitely group them with our community. I know my co-host does not agree with that.
They're part of the minority, I'd say that.
And especially when it comes to voting, I would expect them to be included in our percentage. Now, this is one of those elections that showed me that maybe the Spanish and Latino community does feel separate from, the black or brown communities that we have. Even in Florida, looking at how the Cuban Americans were, a lot of them were voting for Trump down in Florida, which kept that state red.
I've seen that.
But
Florida always goes red.
But I guess I wasn't
just like Texas.
I was wondering why the Spanish people of those states will vote Trump. And I did get a word that when Trump started to call in Biden a socialist and socialism and all of that, that did bring back some fear in the Cuban American mindset, maybe reminded them of Fidel Castro, something along those lines that kind of made them say, well, I don't think this is a good idea. We should probably vote Trump. And they did that. So it worked in Florida. Fortunately, it did not in Arizona. And we were able to keep that state blue.
Turn it blue.
Oh, turn it blue.
Yeah, turn it blue.
We had a few
counties like Maricopa County.
Shout out to is that your county?
It's the metropolitan area of Arizona, but I was from Peoria, so which is part of the Maricopa County. So yeah.
Shout out to Maricopa County.
Yeah.
Holding it down. No,
and Phoenix is also part of that too. So yeah, Minnesota too, but Minnesota always goes blue. So
it wasn't just Arizona and Minnesota that
flip.
Flip. Now, we did also see a flip in the state of Georgia, another state that hasn't been blue.
I'm glad you bring that up.
1992. Shout out to 92 children all over the world.
Wow.
I'm a 92 child myself, but the state of Georgia has not been blue since Bill Clinton. And Biden was able to turn that. Now,
That's
I would
almost
actually
28 years. That's 28 years.
It is 28 years, but I have to attribute the reason for that because Georgia was red in pretty much all of its counties. It was Fulton County, Atlanta, and the greater that turned that state blue. And I want y'all to know that. And Stacey Abrams. Now, they're not going to give Stacey Abrams this credit, but that's why the Mouth of the South is the type of show that it is. We're going to call it what it is. Now, I give credit to the state of Georgia turning to Stacey Abrams. That's what
Shout out to Stacey Abrams. She's a candidate who literally came out and she put in the work to ensure other candidates didn't get the same type of treatment she got herself. Like, she did what she needed to do. She registered over 800,000 people. 800,000 people to vote. Thank you, Stacey Abrams.
It's
We
God's
need
work.
more
It's God's
people
work
like
right there.
you. Exactly. So, back to,
Big
on the
turnout.
topic of that, on
Oh,
the
yeah.
topic of Fulton County, pretty much flipping that state. Like, and let's get into this really. Those states that we were waiting on votes for, those counties had black people heavily residing in those counties, and now we know that in this election, the amount of black women that voted went from 4% to 8%. And we all know black women carry the vote, the black vote. We do. Let's just be honest, okay? So in reality, we carried the vote of the Democratic Party in this election. Black women literally carried the vote. We swing those states. All of those states. Wisconsin, Arizona, Pennsylvania. Let's start naming them. Nevada. But it was a great.
No. Shout out to all of our black women out there. They definitely held it down. And while you're on the topic of black women, I didn't have this in my notes, but I definitely have to add this piece because we have the 4 to 8% jump in the black women sector. And then when you look at the black men, we look at how, 13% of black men voted for Trump in 2016.
That's.
In 2020, that percentage jumped to 18. So now we have 18% of black men that are voting for Trump in this election. Now we have to wonder, why did the percentage jump to the Republican side for the black men? I have to wonder.
Well, I mean, there's some possibilities. Some black men can't get over the fact that Biden said, "You're not black if you don't vote for me." There's the other side of it that a black man's over here saying like, well, there's 2 white men, running for office. I'm just going to pick whichever one I value. I lean more closely with their values. And, with Biden's party being the more progressive party, they support gay rights,
I think that is a
abortion.
big reason that is maybe deterring black women from voting Democratic is the value system, but also I think it has something to do with financially as well. I think that
for why the black
reason
men voted that way.
I think that there's some black men that are on the side of money.
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
I think that
I heard that
what
one.
is doing some work in our community is kind of making some of us think another way. And so I do think that is one of the issues. But I just wanted to put that out there. I'm not trying to make this about that. But I do wonder where the disconnect is with the black men. And we definitely need to pay attention to what our black women are doing and salute them. Because honestly, they pushed the change that happened yesterday.
We always come out.
Shout out to the black women.
Just like I want to mention how monumentous this moment was. Just Biden getting the ticket, but who else was also on the ticket? Kamala Harris.
Well, I'm glad that you're calling her black because for a minute there, I thought you were trying to section her out like the rest of the world and say, oh well. First person of color, and Fox News will say, oh, we got the first person of color, and I feel like everyone's going to continue this whole person of color rhetoric when we just need to, call it what it is. Everyone knows that Kamala's a black woman.
Okay, yes.
You know what I mean? we just need to stop dividing ourselves. But go
Yeah,
ahead, go
exactly.
ahead, go ahead,
That's
go
why I
ahead.
addressed her as such. So yeah.
Oh, but while we're on the topic of Kamala, I'm sorry, we're gonna do that because, like you say, black women coming through for us, saving the day, and now you have a vice president that's a black woman, and so this is why this is my theory. I believe that Kamala Harris will be the most viewed and most used vice president ever. And
Oh,
that's,
yeah.
that's what I think.
Oh yeah.
We will see her more than any other vice president, and she will be more vocal than any other vice president.
Yeah,
Just
we're not just celebrating, Biden becoming president. We're celebrating, Trump's end, okay? We're celebrating, a rise in democracy and the believing that democracy actually works again. We're celebrating a lot of different things, and we're saying that character and integrity matter. Okay? This election was saying a lot more than pretty much just Biden winning, okay? We understand that, okay? We're celebrating, Kamala Harris being the first female VP. There's a lot of things to celebrate in this election, and it was a breath of fresh air, and it was a relief for me personally.
Yeah.
So,
And it's definitely something that we should celebrate. The work is not done. Amanda was hitting me yesterday talking about, are you happy at all that we got a new president? And I'm like, look, that was step one. We got a lot of work to do. I mean, there's a lot of work to be done. I wanna talk about, how the Democrats told Ice Cube early on, look, this is a really good plan for black people. But let's talk about that after the election. Okay, Democrats.
oh yeah, we're gonna come down his neck.
The election is over.
We're gonna come down your neck, Biden. We definitely are. Speak on it.
I was just gonna say, for those who our viewers that don't know what VMI is,
It's Virginia Military Institute.
the first
Yes.
military institution of the country, the most racist currently
No,
attended.
the most racist
institution
as well.
in the
Racist
country.
history as well, yeah.
And their superintendent just stepped down. Their statues are finally coming down.
It came down to basically, does he want to move and modernize the school and actually start diversifying and, making black students and cadets feel comfortable? It basically came down to that, and he did not want to do that. And so he stepped down. Thank you. We appreciate that. We are new times now, so your school does need to modernize and, progress. So
And that was a whole sidebar. Anybody?
that
from
was a whole
VA.
sidebar for you guys who don't know about the thing happening with VMI.
But the other thing I wanted to say about this transition of power, so you do have Trump's end, as you like to say. So obviously we saw the press conference when Trump came forward and said, if you count the legal votes, I win. If you count the illegal votes, they may try to steal this election. That was the first time I had ever seen a president say anything like that.
Because
Yeah.
the illegal votes, you're talking about mail-in ballots. What makes mail-in ballots illegal now in this election?
Well-
were they illegal last election? No, they were not. We've been using mail-in
Yeah,
ballots for
that's the
how
last
long?
election.
No, I was going to say we can argue international interference the last election. We
Okay.
can argue that.
Yeah.
This year, it
There was more of a
different.
probe
We
on
were-
that, so that was more controlled. than
And
they did.
Trump actually said nothing about the election process when he ran the first time. He didn't say that it was crooked. He didn't say that it was fraud.
But this time he relied so heavily
And
on
this-
exposing that.
And I just
And he
I
failed.
didn't
He
understand.
failed very miserably
Yeah.
because also his observers got no touch of any evidence of any voter fraud going on or counting, miscounting going on. So
They actually did. I did hear them say one thing, and the one thing was there was a Trump supporter that tried to vote twice. Now,
thank you.
Now we can do better, America. Now, and that's the thing though, because
know.
look at it. Biden won the election, but half the country voted for Trump.
That tells you right there, we have a lot of work to do. 76 million of y'all still voted for Trump. Okay? I'm not saying you're racist, but I will say that race was not an issue for you.
But I'm saying that you put profits
Racism
over
is not an
people,
issue for you.
and
Yeah,
I
definitely.
question where your morality lies.
Definitely.
Now, I'm
The
not
policy
judging
in front of
you.
people, which is very not so surprising. Americans are very, self-entitled people.
Wow. Well,
So
America, we are giving off the wrong vibe. But I think that removing Trump was something that we had to do. Like you said, we were the laughing stock of the world. We had to get Trump out of office. We had to,
at the very least,
reorganize our politics. I mean, Biden is just a placeholder. Personally, I feel that, you know, Biden's one of those guys where you can get some things done through him, but don't expect him to, you know, flip the whole table over for you and just everything's gonna be all right. Like you said, we still got a lot of work to do.
But
I'm still. Hold on. I'm still.
You want to talk about that? But you wanted to say that. Let's not say that Biden can't flip the table. Biden is a person that we can actually expect to listen, though, you know, and hear out of people's thoughts and not go, my way is the highway type thing.
That's why I say we may be
before.
able to get some things done through him, but it doesn't stop there. We still have to continue to organize ourselves. I still want to take this opportunity to shout out the PAC that Diddy created called Our Black Party. Everyone needs to look into that. Go to Our Black Party. I don't know if it's .org or .com, but Google it. Check that out. You can register for that just as easy as registering for Instagram. I still think that we need to organize ourselves politically, and what Diddy's trying to put in place is going to help us do that. Biden's the president now, so we have 4 years to organize ourselves whichever way we want to politically, but I think that it's pretty clear that black folks are not Republican and Democrat. I think that that's pretty clear. That's not our party, our idea, our culture. I think that we are ultimately going to have our own political party. So that's something that we want to continue to promote. And like I say, even if you're an independent, become a registered independent. I respect that. But we need to know that we have our own voice and we control our own political power, our own financial power, all of that. I mean, I just want to get us back, you know, in the spirit. I think that everything that led up to this point has brought us to where we are, right? The police brutality, the pandemic, all of these things kind of causing us to really look at ourselves. And now that we have a new head of state, so as you say, you know, it's time for us to stand on that. Like you say, Biden's somebody we may be able to get some things done through. So those ideas, those movements, those issues, we are not going to put them on the back burner just because we got a new president. Like, we got to keep putting this in his face. And Kamala, hopefully her being a Howard sister from the community, California, she can empathize and, you know, help and get some of these things done. We talk about black women. We talk about how strong, how they are the backbone. Well, she got an opportunity on her hands, Amanda, and if she don't hold her in, I'm coming right to you.
I mean, we have
black woman supporter.
We have a very good stepping and good chance to make change. At the end of the day, I mean, the election went both ways though, because in the Senate still held majority Republican, and we lost some seats as well. But we just hope that with the bipartisanship and everyone can work together and, you know, bringing about change. And I heard that Mitch McConnell and Biden have a good relationship with one another, so let's just hope smooth sailing from here on out, you know, and things can get done and America can get back on track and not be the laughing stock anymore. This election was just a sigh of relief. That's all I can say for right now.
Organize yourselves, man, and make sure y'all hit Biden's office, Kamala's office, your local representative's office, and shoot them that contract with Black America. That is something that we all need to get our local representatives to sign off on. It's a document you can check out. CWBA, you can Google that as well. It's something that you can get well read up on. But it's just a document. We are trying to formulate a sense of constitution and bylaws, organizing us politically, like I was saying. And I think that between what Ice Cube is doing and what Diddy is doing, it's our job to build on that and make it what it is.
To expound on that, a sense of continuity moving forward needs to happen with everyone. We came out the way we came out in this election and voted. We really just we can all see what happens when we all come together and actually vote. You know, people came out and voted in this election in historical numbers. Whether you voted for Trump or whether you voted for Biden, people came in every demographic in every field came out in historical numbers.
Yeah.
That says a lot. When we come out and vote, our voices will be heard. That little vote that you think did not matter did matter in this election. So moving forward, the continuity in voting needs to happen, whether it's a general election or these semi-elections coming up for the senator and the house. We need to vote and keep voting, okay, you guys? It's imperative that we do, because your vote does matter. And there's a lot of work to be done.
And it doesn't stop now. Vote locally. Why are we saying that? There was a couple of, here in the city of Richmond, there was a big uproar behind police brutality with Mayor Stoney, yet he's the mayor again. So we're forgetting about some of the very near and dear politics as well. We need to make sure that we're voting locally and getting what we need for our children and thereafter.